This is Trump getting what I would imagine is a pretty unexpected welcome at today's Iowa State football game, with what was a mixed reaction from the crowd, but certainly plenty of boos that were otherwise difficult to miss. And probably more unexpected given the fact that this is a state Trump won by 8 points. It's almost like the facade of Trump's popularity is starting to expose itself.
It's almost like the facade of Trump's popularity is starting to expose itself.
You noted the 39% approval rating. He's been hovering down there in that range since the spring.
And this wasn't his only rough moment from the game. The photos that began to circulate online didn't exactly do the former president any favors either. Take a look at some of these pictures, which probably paint a little bit of a different picture than how Trump will inevitably describe his visit, which you can bet will be that of uncompromised adulation. And look, it's been a minute since I've been to a college football game, but I'm pretty sure this isn't the sign for adulation. I'm pretty sure this isn't the sign for adulation.
You were lying your ass off.
But just for fun, let's keep going. And that's the thing to remember. Americans, even in red states, are starting to recognize exactly what the Republican Party stands for.
Now Sleepy Joe would say,
but I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
"Oh, Sleepy Joe."
So whether you're still leaning on the GOP's archaic branding about freedom, or a younger candidate's penchant for rapping, that glossy veneer is no longer enough to hide what that party actually represents.
And our brand new poll that spells trouble for President Biden. His approval rating's at a record low. Over 2/3 of Americans say he's too old for another term.
But just for fun, let's keep going.
President Biden just got the lowest approval rating of his presidency. Yay! And the White House still claiming they're just cruising to victory in 2024. Welcome to Fantasy Island.
The GOP is a collection of mostly old white Christian men looking to impose an unpopular theocratic agenda onto a population that has made it abundantly clear that they're not interested.
Take a look at this. According to ABC News and the Washington Post, the president's approval rating is now at a staggering 36%. Wow, you guys! That's 6 points lower than February, which really wasn't that long ago. But don't worry, it gets worse. The same poll now showing President Biden losing to former President Trump by 7 points.
We don't want the abortion bans.
And by the way, that is a lie.
We don't want the interstate travel bans.
That is a lie.
We don't want the book bans.
It's a lie.
We don't want the LGBT bans.
It's a lie.
We don't want the attacks on Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid.
It's a lie.
We don't want the attacks on minority communities.
Lie.
We don't want the gun violence. We don't want the agenda that the Republican Party is selling. It doesn't matter how historically red a state was. People are beginning to recognize exactly who they are and what they stand for.
Fans in Iowa giving former President Trump a rock star's welcome yesterday at the Iowa versus Iowa State showdown football game.
The former president also flipping burgers and tossing footballs at a local frat house as GOP candidates descend on the crucial caucus state.
And you may think I'm lying, but the numbers don't.
Donald Trump obviously had a good day and had a good time, but he may be the only person I know that flips burgers in a suit.
Yeah.
And a tie.
There's something very authentic about the way he did it, because you know he doesn't flip burgers often, and he's still got that suit on. So what do you make? I mean, we were talking this morning about the fact that he went into this frat house, right? And that, you know, he might be the only candidate out there that would get that kind of reception in a fraternity house, you know, or young people, you know, generally don't really care about politicians coming in to see them. And yet these guys were enthused and excited. Why is that? Explain this phenomenon.
Because he connects to people that most Washington politicians simply cannot connect to, because they're a wholly owned subsidiary of the donor class. They take their orders from the donor class and from the lobbyists and from the people who really run government from behind the scenes.
If you think the electoral map isn't being completely and quickly redrawn because of the GOP's extremism right now, then you're very clearly not paying attention.
Joe Biden is no stranger to embarrassing gaffes. The President of the United States has stumbled and mumbled his way through his presidency, and yet again he's proven himself to be an incompetent leader at a time when leadership is needed the most. As fires engulfed the Hawaiian island of Maui, Joe Biden was nowhere to be seen. Lives lost, homes destroyed, livelihoods ruined, and the President of the United States was on vacation. And when he finally did emerge, the Democrats probably wished he had stayed away. The already desperate situation was made even worse by a series of gaffes by the president, causing widespread anger on the ground and across the globe.
And look, is it a big deal that Trump and DeSantis and Ramaswamy got booed at a football game? Probably not. But the lesson that we can take away from it is that the story about the GOP's stranglehold on the heartland is as much a lie as Trump's 215-pound self-reported weight from his Fulton County booking.
President Biden's catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan is a disgrace that has now resulted in the tragic loss of American lives. Our so-called commander-in-chief is abandoning Americans, our Afghan allies and members of NATO who only came to Afghanistan to help us. We are in a crisis of leadership. President Joe Biden has failed.
Middle America is waking up to the reality that they're being taken advantage of by a party of authoritarians and theocrats who believe that just because certain places have voted Republican in the past means that they're guaranteed to vote that way in the future.
This motherfucker's a retard.
We've got a fully blue Michigan that tells a much different story. So you can be sure that the Trumps and DeSantises and Ramaswamies of the world will never acknowledge their not so warm welcome in Iowa, but they should absolutely take it as a warning.
Maui has experienced the unimaginable. Out of control fires, over 100 people dead, countless still missing, and thousands of homes and businesses destroyed. The people of Maui need help, but the response of the president has been a disaster.
So our sitting president has been on vacation pretty much every other week. And his real job is a vacation too, because he only works about 4 hours a day, according to the White House aides. He's on duty from 10 to 4, and then Matlock's on and he's got to run.
But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
It's a vacation from all the tapioca pudding. And he goes to Rehoboth Beach, which is a beautiful beach in Delaware. He's hanging out there when Maui happens. Somebody happens to get him with his shirt off. And they say, Mr. President, you have a comment on the number of people dead. I mean, there are 115 people dead. They believe there's going to be scores of children who are dead in this thing, Paul. They're still missing almost 1,000. And he says, no comment. No comment. Like he's George Clooney walking out of the Oscars. You're not George Clooney. You're the president. One word. I don't care. You're on the beach. You say, my God, it's terrible. My heart goes out to them. My wife's heart goes out too. We'll be making a statement on it soon. I've got my people on it.
They have lost those students. They've lost those independents. They've lost those sane Republicans who don't want to be ruled by a party of extremists.
Look at this. This is 3 years since the election of 2020, and he's still getting the kind of reception that a person just elected would get. Joe Biden goes to a place, meanders on and off the stage, mumbles through a teleprompter speech, and gets polite applause like at a golf course. It's just stunning to see the difference.
And the boos are going to look tame compared to what these Republicans endure at the ballot box when it finally comes time to vote for one of these far-right extremists come November of 2024.
Are you fucking retarded? The hell's the matter with you?
And look, it's been a minute since I've been to a college football game.
No shit.